In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you an interview with my wife on her experience with the Wholesale formula. Now, this is part of a 4-part video series, and this is part 3. So if you missed out on part 1 or 2, be sure to check out the description below, and I'll give you the links to part 1 and part 2 so you make sure you watch them in order, because part 1 was focused on her experience with the Wholesale formula course, learning how to sell wholesale the right way thanks to the Wholesale formula. Part 2 is about her experience actually trying to find the leads, trying to find profitable wholesale leads, and her experience, pros and cons, mistakes, failures, successes, and that is in part 2. So here's part 3, and in part 3, she is focused on sharing with me how she dealt with interacting with brand owners, how she was able to contact them, how she was able to convince some brands to let her sell their items on Amazon, and the process in that, successes and failures, and all that experience. She also talks a little bit about outsourcing some of her wholesale sourcing to a VA to open up some time to allow her to find even more leads. So it's a really great interview, and just check it out. And I'll tell you where you can find part 4 after this interview coming up right here, part 3 with my wife, Rebecca. Welcome to part 3 of our 4-part video series where I interview Rebecca about her experience with the Wholesale formula and what it's been like putting into action what she has learned from the Wholesale formula. So first part was focused all about the course. The second part was all about generating leads and trying to do product analysis and deciding which companies to reach out to. In this third video, we are going to dive into contacting those leads, how that experience went, emotions, feelings, and thoughts.
Drama.
Yeah, so you have a list of leads. You're looking forward to it. You're excited. What did you do with those list of leads?
Okay, so this one, I did mention in the last video that when it came to scouting that I did not use RVA's help because of the reasons that I went over in that video. But when I got to this step where I had whittled it down from the 4-point checklist to the 21-point checklist, and I had a list of about 30 leads, I did at that point say, VA, I would like for your help. So we have a VA that we've used for several years to help us with these kind of tasks. And if you don't already have a VA, there's tons of great information within the Wholesale formula course about how to find one and the different types of things that they can help you with. And so be sure to, at the appropriate time, go through that course material and
the VA Launchpad.
Yeah, and figure out if that's something that you're interested in and if that would be helpful for you. You know, I know that some people have VAs do basically everything for them, and you know, that's a great way to do it if that's what you're looking for, but there's all sorts of in between of do everything yourself, have the VA do everything. There's this whole spectrum in between that. And so we're kind of somewhere in the middle of like, there's certain things that I don't mind doing myself and actually enjoy doing myself. And then there's other things that I'm like, no, I don't want to do that at all. I'll have the VA do it. And so, and that will change from time to time too, like depending on what else is going on and various factors that I'll have the VA do different things for me. But in this instance, once I got to this point of I have a list of 30 ASINs, I sent her the information that I had collected, and she's done this for me in the past. She is like a spreadsheet queen. She is so good at it. Like, gave her a little video saying, this is what I want here, this is what I want there, and she went through and gathered all of the information that I needed to be able to contact the companies and to figure out the different ways to contact them. You know, I had a little bit of back and forth with her over, you know, I'm looking for something more specific here, and if you see this word or that word, that's what I'm looking for, that link. And so she was able to then create the spreadsheet for me with all of that contact information filled in.
Yeah, so you had like the brand name and the phone numbers and emails and...
Right, all I gave her was the ASIN and the Amazon link. So she had that information, and she goes to the Amazon webpage, the Amazon page, the product page for this list of items, and she was able to get from me then the brand name, the website, email information, contact, you know, phone numbers if needed, contact, the contact us page, if there was a page that's like apply here for a wholesale account, you know, that kind of thing. She sent me back all of that information for each of those companies. And then I went from there to contact them with my initial opening email that we'd come up with. We'd adapted our previous template that we had with the newer information from the more recent version of the Wholesale formula, and I started contacting them and kind of went from there. And again, with the VA, in the past, we have actually had our VA do some of that contact for us. And, that's just one more step that you can eliminate for yourself, is to have a VA do the emails or fill in the contact forms on the website for you.
I think one of the ways that I did it before was, if there was just an email address, I was going to email them. But if there was a contact form, we gave her the information to fill out that contact form and submit it for us. And so, there's a lot of different ways to do it. And the more you can, have the VA do, that's awesome.
Yeah. So this time, though, I just went through and did all the emails. I don't know. Sometimes I just like to do it myself.
Yeah.
So I did. And so I went through and did my initial contacts, filled in the date that I emailed all of them, and the ball was then rolling. And I know I'm going to look at my notes, because I had told you before, I ran my first scans on tactical arbitrage to do super targeting on February 25th. And then by March 1st, I was ready to start looking through my scans. I worked up my courage to look at my tactical arbitrage results. And then I had the VA make the spreadsheet for me. And I was able then to begin contacting brands by March 11th. And I don't remember what caused there to be that big of a gap between March 1st and March 11th. Part of it was probably me procrastinating again. It just depends on if I have other stuff going on, what's going on with the kids, But anyway, by March 11th, I was sending out emails, and I have in my notes here that by March 17th, I had contacted everybody. So somehow it took me from March 11th to March 17th to send 30 emails.
So you wrote up those emails, you sent them out, or you filled out the contact forms for ones we didn't have email leads for. What kind of experiences did you have from that? What were your results?
So I would say, keep in mind with everything related to the Wholesale formula that you're playing a numbers game here. And so I tried to take as good of notes as possible on all my numbers so that I could, for my own benefit, have it to look back on, and then also to share with y'all. But so I sent 30-ish emails in that first batch, and I would say, I've got written down that most of those I received no response to the first email. And by most, I'd say probably like 90%. 90% or higher. No response. I received several just straight up no, or no Amazon sellers, or no e-commerce. So then I was able to follow up with, okay, why is that? And I was able to follow the template and the little script that I had put together of all of the different scenarios, because it was different for different ones with their response. I was able to look and see okay, well, this is what they're responding. Here's how I want to respond back to them. And I was able to email back and forth and continue a conversation with them, so that it wasn't just no and we're done, but that I was able to say, okay, I want to continue ask. And if you're polite about it, they answer. I don't think that there was a single person when I said, do you mind explaining why, that didn't give me some sort of answer. And it might have been a short one. They're busy, they don't need to send me a paragraph. But everybody would tell you some reason why. And so then, from there, whether you can continue on, or, I had some people say, actually, we're in the process of doing brand registry right now, and we're going to be the only seller on Amazon. And so I'm like, okay, that's not for me right now.
Right.
And so this was an encouraging first step for me with all of my hesitancy about having to interact with people. It was an encouraging first step to kind of work through several no's and not take it personally, and also not take no as just no, but as okay, let's talk about why no, and not to be pushy, or in certain instances, no was followed up with a reason that indicated to me oh, okay, that's not somebody I want to continue talking with, because it's clear that this isn't going to go anywhere. And so, you try to be mindful of that and recognize that, but then in other situations, you're able to keep that conversation going. And that was encouraging to me. Even if all of the back and forth ended up still in no, it was still encouraging to me to be able to kind of get some experience, because again, it's a numbers game. And so the more experience you have talking through those no's with people, the closer you're going to get to the yes.
Right. And if you remember in the Wholesale formula, both when the workshop was open and then also in the Wholesale Formula course, they said, Dan and Dylan were saying, if you get a no, this could be a really good thing, because it means they're not just letting anybody be a wholesale reseller for that particular item.
Yeah, and that was another thing that I was like so excited. Some of the responses I got was like, no, we're not doing any more accounts because we have so many issues with people following MAP. And I'm like, well, let's talk about MAP, because that's something that, we feel pretty strongly about too. And, told her some of the things that we've experienced and some of the things that we've been able to help the wholesale companies that we work with already on that. And so it was good to get some experience of hearing that and being like, oh, well, that's something that, we can talk about. And so even though I will say it's a numbers game, and so I was not able to close any deals from that first batch of emails that I sent out with people who said no, but I was able to get some experience having those conversations and to realize that it is not going to kill me to talk to people. And I said that and I just feel like my mother all of a sudden, because she used to tell me that when I was younger, it is not going to kill you to talk to them. And I'm like, I might die from talking. So
the introvert in you is dying. Yes.
I might die from talking to somebody. Anyway, so where I was going with that is, I know Steven has talked about in his confidence building masterclass to have an alter ego. And I'm going to share with you that I have a super unfair advantage to the rest of the world when it comes to having an alter ego when you're communicating with wholesale companies, because my alter ego is Steven.
Hi.
To the point that I use his email address even. So I did all of this contact with these companies using his email address for our company and signing all of my emails as Steven. And let me tell you, having an alter ego. Now, I'm not saying go out and invent a person with a different name, like an alias that you use of somebody else in a different email. But having that mindset, so it really did help me to not take things personally, because they would send it back and say, dear Steven, no, I'm sorry. And I'm like, oh, well, this isn't even addressed to me. Even though I was the one responding to it and going back and forth with them. Anyway, so highly recommend getting an alter ego. Sorry, you can't all have Steven as your actual alias.
Yeah, and if you don't have access to the Confidence Builders workshop, that don't worry, that will be released to you very soon, or you might have it already, and be sure to go watch that if you have not yet.
Yeah, it's very helpful.
Yeah, so you've talked a lot about emailing. Have you dabbled in phone calls or done anything with the call system that they teach you in the Wholesale Formula?
Nope, I have not. As evidenced throughout this video, no. And, it might be something that I get into at some point, but for me right now, I just haven't found the need to do it. I do want to follow up with, and we can get more into this once we get into the next video too. I had a lot of no's on these people that I went back and forth with, but there were people that responded who responded to my initial email of like, okay, just give us this, and this information and upload this to our website and we'll get you going. And I was like, okay, great. And, that's low-hanging fruit. I understand that if I can do that, so can any number of other sellers. But it still gave me access then to their wholesale pricing and their price list, and to scan that and look through and see where I could go with that. So I'm not saying that my results out of all of this were just no accounts. Let me look back. From that first batch, I had 2 that gave me that immediate, yes, let's get you set up. And then one of them came back, and after we went back and forth a little bit, was like, actually, I don't think this is going to work for us. And I was like, okay, whatever. So the second one, then I got a response from them, and by, here's our time frame. Remember, I began contacting brands by March 11th. By March 17th, I had finished contacting brands. By March 22nd, I had already placed an opening order with this one company. And by March 31st, I sold my first item. So even though it took me so long to get going on all of this, I started contacting people by the 11th of March, and by the 31st, I had sold an item from that initial order. And it sold so well. We sold out of it. We bought 2 different ASINs. One of them hasn't done as well, but the other one has been doing great. And we were able to place another follow-up order after that first test. And we're pretty excited about how that's going. And so, yeah, even though I got a lot of no's on people that I was going back and forth with, I still, even in that first round, was able to find a company that I could order from. And to me, that's a success.
Yep.
Definite success. And I don't know where that's going to go. I have since also ordered other items from them to test out, and I'm pretty excited about that. And even though I feel like in some ways, oh, that's low-hanging fruit, I feel a little bit tentative about it, but I'm not buying things that seem... I'm buying the things that are less low-hanging fruit from their catalog, and very hopeful about where that will go. That was the first round. We've since had a second or third, I can't remember now at this point, of contacting more people, doing another round of super targeting, doing another round of 4-point checklists, 21-point checklists, get the VA to help with contact information and contacting them. And I've opened another account and placed another initial order that should be arriving any moment now.
That would be cool.
And we'll see where that goes. So yeah.
So you're still learning everything. You're getting more experience, but you've also gotten to a place where you're like lather, rinse, repeat, where you're able to, you start to get some momentum with what you're doing.
Yeah, I really feel like I do. I have a process set up. I have a system in place for my, I don't know, the way I work every day. I have like a list of my to-dos that for every aspect of business that we do, and also just stuff I want to get done around the house or whatever. And I've got a system in place now for like, okay, where am I on this wholesale stuff? Okay, I'm doing scanning. Tomorrow I will be at the point where I can start doing the 4-point checklist and just kind of go from there. And I've got a system in place where I'm working through just checking things off each day.
Yeah. And so if you're curious when we're recording this April 15th. And so, she started back in what was it, February, starting taking through the course.
January started taking the course.
Oh, January in the course.
February started scanning.
March, reaching out to get some leads. End of March, getting your first sale. In the middle of April, you're in the middle of this process. You've got multiple orders from multiple wholesale accounts and just getting some momentum. So that's pretty awesome.
It is. I feel good about it because I'm just getting started. So who knows where this is going to go. I think things will pick up speed even. The more used to the process I get, I think I'll be able to go through some of this even faster. The more I want to go through in more detail the VA Launchpad. I've been through part of it. I'm going to go through that in more detail and talk with our VA about what else she can help us with. And that could definitely speed up the process as well, so that we have even more accounts even faster and more items that we can add to our inventory.
It is possible to start seeing some of the results really soon if you commit to the time involved, have patience, have that mentality that no's are not rejecting you, they're just rejecting the offer to buy their items, and sticking with the process. Trust the process of the wholesale formula and stick with it, and you'll see those results. So this has been part 3 of our 4-part video series interviewing Rebecca about her experience with the wholesale formula and buying and selling wholesale stuff. In the last part, we are going to jump into actually sourcing inventory, buying decisions, how that's gone, and a little bit more details.
Yeah, we kind of started touching on that some in this video, but we'll go into more detail.
Yeah, more details about that when it comes to, making buying decisions, lessons learned, and the emotions and feelings of that whole experience. Can't wait to get to the next part of this video with you, so we'll see you in part 4. All right, so that was part 3. Part 4 drops tomorrow, March 4th of 2022, and here's the deal. FulltimeFBA.com/wholesale formula. That's where you can get the course that taught my wife and taught me exactly how to find wholesale leads that are profitable that we can continually reorder over and over again. And it's been one of the best ways that we've been able to turn part-time hours into a full-time income. And it's only open, the wholesale formula course, only open to the public for a few days. Time is running out, so checking it out right now. FulltimeFBA.com/wholesale formula is the link where you can look at that. And we're even throwing in a $2,000 bonus package to help convince you this is how much we believe in this course. So If you want more information about the bonus package, fulltimefba.com/TWF bonus is the link to learn about that bonus package. And guess what? If you're watching this sometime after March of 2022, and it's like, I've missed out on this course, go to that same link, fulltimefba.com/wholesale formula. You can sign up for a wait list to be notified as soon as the course is open to the public again so that you can check it out for yourselves. So this was part 3. Coming up next is part 4, and in part 4, I talk with my wife about her experiences of buying decisions when it comes to wholesale, what she decided to buy, how deep she decided to go, how much money she decided to spend, the buying decisions that helped her, know what was her first order like, what was her experiences like, which ones are she making second orders and third orders, and so, and more information about outsourcing to a VA. That's going to be in our next video. Drops tomorrow, March 4th. So be sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. Ring that bell so you get notified. And we'll see you in the next video. fulltimefba.com/wholesale formula. Check out the course. It's amazing. You're going to love it. And we'll see you in tomorrow's video for part 4.